Welcome back to another episode of Man vs. Marriage. I am Quincy W. Moran, a.k.a. the Cute Dog, and I'm in the studio with Coach Rita.
Hello.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, stand by for the unveiling of Coach Rita. That was awesome. Now,
That was really good.
also in the studio, we have our producer, Ashley. Ashley, look at you.
And the crowd goes
I really
wild.
appreciate you. If you don't know Ashley already, one day you will know her because she is one of the most creative people I know. Matter of fact, she's not just a creative. She puts action to creation.
Yes.
And she creates these incredible cosplay. Do you call them costumes? They're so sophisticated, though.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, how is Marvel not calling you already? Hey, you listening, you work for Marvel. Get in touch with me. Okay, anyway, it's our podcast. We can do whatever the crap we want to do. Anyway, my lovely wife is back in the studio with us, and we just want to take what we thought was good is to kind of hit the pause button on rewriting the script. Because, Coach Rita, we could just do an entire podcast on rewriting the script, and a lot of people do because it's about self-development.
Right.
But to me, it's like we need to pause here and move on to another level that will just enhance someone's ability to rewrite their script. Because it's all about understanding what language your spouse speaks. So to me, one thing we encouraged you to do in the last episode was to go back to the beginning of rewriting the script and listen again. Get your journal out. Listen again. Start to write down some of these points that are going to help you kind of build your strategy to rewriting who you are. It starts with you. We've said that from the beginning. The whole catalyst on episode 000 is how I had to take responsibility for who I was, where I was, and how I was acting. So it always starts with you, and it's not until you kind of get yourself in line can you try to go back or go to your spouse to rewrite the script of your marriage. So that's important. Go back and listen. Please do yourself a favor, bro. Go back and listen. And really just capitalize on all the nuggets we put out there. Glean or grab or really learn from, how far Jeannie and I put ourselves out there and rewriting the script and becoming a soft place to land. I'm going to tell you, if you don't have this in your marriage yet, it is so fulfilling. It is such an amazing place to be, where the safest place you can be is being vulnerable to your spouse, because in no way, shape, or form are they going to take advantage of that.
Right.
And that is important. That is so important to strengthen and redefine that connection point in your marriage. And I got to say, I love my wife, but on top of that, I have moved from a sense of deep love to adoring her. And there's a difference there. But it only comes from you choosing to redefine what it looks like and redefine what direction that path is going to take. So if you want to go from loving to adoring your wife, go back and listen and really get those steps down, or really just try to capitalize. Listen again for some strategies that you can use. If you don't, well, that's kind of crappy. But don't worry, you'll get there, dude. You'll get there. That's the beauty of it. You're going to get there. So, Coach Rita, did you have anything to add to that?
The only thing I want to say, it's like a layering process. Like if you would go back and do listen to rewriting the script, I think as you listen to the episodes and you go from one to another, there's a layering that takes place, and it's giving you, like what you said, it's giving you guys tools to apply. It is getting a journal, listening to it, see what it is that speaks to you, because different things are going to mean different things to our listeners. We want to speak to you individually. What is it, that thing that's speaking to you in a certain episode, and then you focus on that, and you study it out. You meditate on that and see how that can fulfill itself within your own life. So it's just a layering process. Like the last episode that we did was creating a soft place to land. Well, in order to create that, there's a connection, there's an intimacy of what we talked about. But there's also this other wonderful tool that I want to give everybody, and that's what we have discussed here and there in every episode. I thought we had like mentioned love languages.
Yeah.
And this, I think, is something that you add to that, creating a soft place to land, because if you're not speaking your spouse's language, like you're speaking a foreign language to them, they can't even understand what it is that you're speaking to them. And I think this is a great tool. I don't want to assume that everybody knows about the 5 love languages, because you and I and people around this table know this book, know the history behind it. I don't want to assume that. So I'm going at it as though this is the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, please do it.
I think it's a game changer.
It is. It's totally a game changer. And the thing is like we kind of always come back to this, and we hear this on, random episodes of other podcasts that we listen to. But there are 7 billion people on the planet. Okay, 7 billion. And there's a good chance that the love language process, book, test, whatever it is, that it probably hasn't reached all 7 billion people to this point. And so just like the first time you told myself and Jeannie about it, just explain it there, just from that point of being brand new. And I want to make this point before you get into it. Remember the name of this show. It's called Man versus Marriage. It's not man versus wife. Okay? So understand that. If you've ever been on a team or played organized sports, the goal is to build yourself and your teammates up.
It's all about team.
To win. Okay? To win. You're not competing against your fellow teammate.
Right.
Per se. There are areas of competition that come within a team. But this is man versus marriage. So this is you being able to develop yourself into the best version of who you are, and learning to speak your wife's language is invaluable. If you've ever spoken to somebody that doesn't speak your language, but you know just a couple of words in that language, you can completely and totally misinterpret everything that person's trying to say.
And it's so frustrating.
It is. It is. It just happened to me the other day with somebody coming in to rent a piece of equipment. But I'll give you this example. I pride myself in being able to copycat languages. I don't really know what I'm saying, but I feel like linguistically I can sound enough like that language for them to understand it. And I was talking to this guy I work with one time who his first language is Spanish. I said, Ricardo, why is it that when I speak Spanish, you don't understand me? I don't get it. And he's like, well, why don't you understand me when I speak English? And I said, touche, buddy. Very, very good point.
That's the 5 love languages right there.
That's it. That's it. Because you think you're speaking a language that they understand, and chances are you are absolutely wrong.
Yep.
So please, open your mind and take if you take nobody else's word for this, take my word for this, that this is game changer status when it comes to your relationship. Matter of fact, not just for your marriage, but once you start to learn and put this into practice in your own life, and you start to learn this in your marriage, you'll actually, if you have children, you'll start to see this evident in your children, and you'll learn how to better speak their language.
Yeah.
And at work, if you have a career, you'll start to see, oh, this person really seems like they respond to love language number 2. Now what I can do is start to speak their language.
Right.
And so what you'll do is really enrich your relationships, and you'll be able to speak the language, and you won't be so frustrated when you're saying, hey, Rico, why don't you understand me when I speak Spanish?
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
All right. So Coach Rita,
So we'll take it from the top here.
take it from the top.
And like I said, I just don't want to assume that everybody has heard of the 5 love languages. And this is a book that Gary Chapman is the author. And like I said, it is a very popular book. If you're interested, there's so much information that he puts out on the internet. You could just go to www.5lovelanguages.com. You could go on there. You can take the survey, the quiz, the test, whatever you want to call it. And I believe it's like 36 questions, maybe just under 40 questions that is asked. And it will produce what it is that your love language is. This stuff that I'm sharing with you, it's not my stuff. It's Gary Chapman's, but I have found in coaching marriages, this I think is very, very helpful. It's something that you definitely want to have in your toolbox. A quote that Gary Chapman has said about this book, it's the love language, or these love languages describe the way we feel loved and appreciated. So that's basically what it boils down to, is how it is that you feel loved and how it is that you feel appreciated is in these love languages, and everybody has a different language. We all have these languages that we want to communicate, and we put things out there, and if we're not aware of what it is that our spouse is putting out there, we could read the language wrong. So when we're confused, we're frustrated, like, I don't understand my wife, she doesn't love me, she doesn't appreciate me, this is a great tool for you to dive yourself in and take everything for what it's worth. So like he said, the love language is it communicates, I love you. And who doesn't want to have that communicated to them?
Right.
Man or woman, it doesn't matter.
Right.
You want to be able to have someone to communicate to you that the action that they are putting forth is communicating, like, they get me, like they love me. I mean, everybody wants that. Everybody wants to be God, is what I say.
Yeah, it's such a nice feeling.
It is.
It's an overwhelming feeling to say, "Oh, you really freaking get me."
Yeah, it's like,
you
wow,
get me.
You totally understand where I'm coming from.
And I would say, Coach Rita, just to butt in here real quick.
Go right ahead.
I think here's where I was before I understood what the love languages were. I was already operating in the love languages.
We all do, yeah.
And what I did was, because it was important to me, naturally, I just knew it was important to my wife. So I was doing for her what was important to me, thinking that, hey, I feel this way, so it's got to be important to her.
Right.
So here you go. And it, you'll get into it here, but it was like, this was a girl whose thing was based on the way she grew up is words, talk is cheap. But to me, it was the most valuable currency that there was.
And that's what you were giving her, because that's what it is. Your language is words of affirmation. So you act out, you communicate our own language.
Right.
And thinking that that's what it is that our spouse needs, but it's really what you need. So if you're tuned into your spouse and you come home and you have these gifts or whatever, and you're bringing these things to your spouse, like, he likes to bring gifts. It's really their language, not so much your spouse's language.
Right.
They'll reveal it to you. Same with your kids. So let's get into it because
Yeah.
I'm talking like you all know what I'm talking
Right.
about, and probably none of
My
you
fault.
talk.
I derailed the whole thing. But thank you for letting me butt in because I just wanted people to know how I was operating.
Right. And we do. I mean, that is true. I was going to talk about that. But in no order, like there's no certain order. There's 5 of them: words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, physical touch. And we'll go over each one of these and kind of define them a little bit. But like I said, the best information that you could do is you and your spouse could go on the computer as soon as this episode is done, log on to 5 love languages and a quiz, test, survey, whatever, I don't know what they call it, will come up and you answer these questions. How are you most likely to respond to this? And it's super easy. Don't overthink it. Don't overanalyze it.
Right.
Go with your first gut feeling. This is how I would respond. And at the end, they will give you a primary and then a secondary love language for you. Yes.
If you want to, I'll give you this opportunity because Tony Robbins does this. He'll say, pause the tape. We don't have tapes anymore. But you could actually pause this. You could pause this podcast right now. You could zip on over on your smartphone to the 5lovelanguages.com, whatever it was that Coach Rita gave that I did not listen to like I should have. And then you can just answer it real quick, and then you'll have them.
Right.
So what she's about to tell you, you can you'll have a better understanding, and your ears will perk up when you hear these things. Otherwise, if you're driving, don't do it. Okay? If you're driving, don't do it. But I just thought, since we got these smartphones, maybe they could just pause it now. It takes no time.
It doesn't.
You
It's
just
really quick.
Kick them out. It'll email it to you, and then you'll have it for this episode. And I am not going to interrupt you again.
It's okay.
Coach Rita, go.
And I just think it's important to know what language your spouse is speaking.
Oh, yes.
What is that thing that's going to affirm them, show appreciation, and show that you love them. And the first one, like I said, is words of affirmation. And that means words that build up your partner. It's verbal compliments. It means a lot to this person to leave notes, to leave messages, voicemail, just words of kindness and appreciation, or you look great, or it's the words that build that person up. So you have to look at it. If words of affirmation is something that builds your partner, the negative aspect you have to understand too is because if you're insulting, if you say things that are hurtful,
So true.
if you say words that are demeaning, because words mean so much to this person, it's what builds them up. So it does have when you have a person that words of affirmation is their love language, and you do a negative spin to that to put them down or whatever, it's going to take them a little bit longer to forgive because it just means so much to them. So there is a positive part of this, but there's also this negative part that you need to be aware of too, because what builds up also tears down.
Right.
So you have to understand that in learning these love languages, because you could think, oh my gosh, my husband is huge on words of affirmation. And when I'm being a smart ass, sarcastic, call it whatever you want, being negative, being just like, just coming at that approach, it means so much more to that person who has that love language of words of affirmation versus somebody who has quality time.
Yeah.
You're not speaking their language. That kind of like, they'll just kind of like go along with you. So you have to take that in consideration when you're just learning this and understanding these love languages. Quality time is the next one. It's your undivided attention, your full attention. You're focused on them. You give them time. You do things wholeheartedly. You're talking. You're looking into their eyes. A central aspect of quality time is togetherness. It's focused attention. Like people think quality time, and I know you ran into this, Quincy.
Guilty.
People think quality time is let's go to the movies and watch a movie. That is not quality time for a quality time person.
Nope.
But okay, you learned your lesson. Quality conversations, meaning it's an experience, it's thoughts, it's feelings, it's a desire, in friendliness. It's very intimate. It's understanding your thoughts, your feelings, and your desires. They don't want advice. They just need to know that you are understanding them. Because they're wanting that intimacy. They're wanting to feel close. They want you to reveal you to you and them to them. Quality activities, the experience, sometimes that togetherness, these create memory banks. It creates memory love for them. Everything is about this memory that they're going to create in this quality time. Mm-hmm. The negative aspect of the quality time is someone being distracted. If you're postponing things, if you've made a date and you have to cancel, if you're postponing it and rescheduling, and the most hurtful thing for a person with quality time is the failure to listen to them. That it's like words of affirmation. It's like putting somebody down or being sarcastic, or, there is a negative aspect to these. And pretty much you could start seeing, okay, now I can see I've been talking the wrong language.
That's right.
So that can be very hurtful to someone who has a quality time. Love language is that you're not listening to them. The next one is receiving gifts. Gifts are a visual symbol of love for someone who has that love language. It expresses love. It expresses, I'm thinking of you, or I'm remembering you. And what you have to think of with receiving gifts, it's not the cost of the gift or the grandeur of the gift. It's the importance of the gift. Like, you found something for me, like you made it personable to that person. Like,
right.
It just means the world to them. Like, if you could see this little trinket that probably cost you nothing, but you give it to somebody who has that love language of receiving gifts, like, you would just think like you conquered the world for them. Mm-hmm. And it's just a thought. It's just the thought that you're thinking of them, and this is a symbol that I was. This is the easiest love language to learn, I think. It is. Let me see.
I want to butt in because I said I wouldn't. The whole receiving gifts, I don't know what my hang up is on that. I do not like to receive gifts.
Really?
I don't like it. I'm thankful for it, but I do not like it because, I don't know what this is about, but I don't want to fail you in my reaction. I don't want to disappoint you in how I react to the gift that you've given me.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It's weird because I can never, think of what I want. I don't know what I want. That I would rather think about what you want.
Did you get gifts as a little kid?
Yeah, we did. I mean,
other than birthdays?
No, not really. I mean, there was really just it wasn't there. I don't know what it is. If you get me something, you're like, oh, I thought of this, and it's just for you, like you're saying, right? It's like, oh man, this is a lot of pressure. If I don't like this enough or I don't react a certain way, it's really going to disappoint you. And I don't like to be put in that position. I don't like it. So I don't like to open my presents in front of people. Cuz I don't.
That's really interesting.
It's really weird. I think it's really low on my list. I love to buy you presents. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's just something.
So if I came with you, only because I know you, and you do have to know that person. Like, Okay, that's not high on your totem pole, but yet if I was to get you a gift, I would think if I would get an Alabama signed jersey, you know what I mean? Or like an Alabama,
Yeah.
if, oh, what is his name? The coach's name?
Nick Saban.
Yes. If he signed something for you, oh my gosh, like you would come unglued.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I would.
You know what I mean? So you just have to know the person.
Yeah, maybe
But that's an interesting,
it's an interesting
yeah.
piece of me that I wanted to throw out there. I know we're going to get deeper into
Yes.
these gifts.
I'm really like going really fast
Yeah,
and
yeah.
going just like giving an introduction pretty much of
You know what I might have opened myself
know.
up to is the audience sending me gifts.
yes.
Oh no.
Anything Alabama he will like.
Yes, Alabama Roll Tide.
Yes. And he is a huge Dodger fan, right?
I do love the Dodgers,
Yes.
the Kings, the Raiders, but
Yep.
nothing competes with Alabama.
Yeah,
for me.
Alabama, anything you could send him. So I just wanted to make this before I get into like the negative aspect of receiving gifts is the physical presence in the time of crisis is the most powerful gift that you can give. Your physical presence in someone's life during something that's happening in their life as they see as a crisis is the most powerful gift that you can give. So just showing up and being present in someone's life is beyond.
That's gift giving? That's
There's just because they're receiving you as you and you're there in this moment that they're having is priceless to them. Because it
Wow.
is giving of yourself.
wow, that's interesting because I mean to me just knowing that somebody's willing to even if they
Because
can't.
everybody does that. Receiving gifts, it's like they think tangible, something that they can see, something that they can hold. Where if you're presenting yourself and I'm that gift to you at this time of crisis, that I'm going to be there for you, that's a huge gift.
Wow, that's
It's not a tangible thing or a like a trinket or you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
I'm giving of myself to you and they see that as a gift.
that's a big deal.
That's really, I thought so too. That's really a unique thing that it goes beyond what we think of something I'm going to go out and buy you.
Yeah.
Because you can't buy that, if that makes any sense. So if
it's
you would
priceless.
think,
It's just
yeah,
it's a gift that you cannot put a price on, but
No.
it has extreme value.
to that person,
Huh.
yes.
I never
So
thought
a
about
negative, the negative spin obviously would be a missed birthday, an anniversary, just being thoughtless. A gift that like means like, did you really think about me? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if you think about that, and so would the absence of an everyday gesture to them, right? It's the presence. It's your presence being a gift to them.
Yeah.
So acts of service is express your love by doing things for your spouse. It could be cooking, washing dishes, vacuuming, cleaning the bathroom, taking out the garbage, washing windows, changing diapers, mowing the lawn, raking leaves, walking the dog, the cat, changing the litter box. Requires thought, planning, time, effort, and energy when you get into acts of service. Let me see. You could make a list of things that you would like to have done for you. You wouldn't want to stereotype it and say, well, men would only like this and women would only like that. You can't stereotype it when you're coming into the acts of service because everybody would have their thing of what it is that they would want someone to do for them.
And that's kind of where it's so important. Like you've got all 5 out on the table now, right?
Mm-hmm. No, not yet.
Okay.
I have one more.
One more. Go ahead.
Physical touch.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah,
let
how
me
could a
just
guy
give
forget
you
that?
an example. Like for acts of service is a good question to say is what can I do to help you this evening?
Yes.
It's putting those things out there. The negative aspect to it is laziness, broken commitments, making more work for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Telling those with this love language their feelings don't matter, because we would look at like washing the car like, really, like that's what you want me to do? But that speaks volumes to someone
Right.
who has acts of service. And when we don't understand that, because to me it would be like, yeah, what's the big deal? Like drive your car through the, because I'm not one of acts of service. So it's interesting when you start speaking to people how they understand this when you're speaking their language. So the last one is physical touch. It's holding hands, hugging, kissing, sexual intercourse. It's rubbing their back. It's sitting by them on the couch when you're watching TV. It's patting them. It's that physical touch that they need. And the negative aspect of this is withholding touch, because they would feel unloved, that you're withholding you touching them, expressing your love to them. So that's the 5 love languages. And like I said, that I went over really, really fast just to kind of give you guys an introduction of what we're going to be spending some time talking about, and really diving into what these all mean and what they really look like. And you, Quincy, being the guinea pig of where you were and where you are now, understanding yourself a little bit better, how that played huge in your guys' marriage. Once you did understand that. So I think this is just a great foundation starting point just to introduce this to you listeners. Hopefully by the next time that we have the episode up, you'll already know what you are. So this will make so much more sense to you when we're going through it a little bit more, diving deeper into it.
And one thing that's exciting for the next episode is I want to take my love languages that the ranking they were when we started our marriage counseling, and I just took the test again the other day, and I surprised myself. It really surprises me because things have changed. So what I'd like to do is put that out on the table to say, here's who I was in current day experience, 5-6 years later. Here's who I am now,
right?
And just let you have some fun with that,
right?
Because it's interesting if you're intentional, who you become,
right?
So I'm excited to do that, and I think
that was a good introduction.
I think so too.
A good starting point to go into this next couple of episodes that we can, have the listener come along with us on this journey.
Yeah, and I'm glad we decided to take this approach, because I think we were going to go another direction with it, but this is the perfect episode to introduce people.
Yes.
I mean, I haven't studied them in depth, but you blew my mind on a couple of, of the love languages when you just kind of explained what they were. The gift giving. I was like, that opened me up to say, oh, I want to know if this is a love language for somebody.
Right.
Now I know that I want to be that expression that humanity needs in the moment.
Right.
And that really will help do that.
So these are just, something just to think about and to leave you guys with. What is your primary love language? What makes you feel most loved by your spouse? What do you desire above all else? What does your spouse do or say or fail to do or say that hurts you deeply? These are just other ways that you could figure out your love language. What have I most often requested of my spouse? That's how you learn about you, of what your love language is. Another way to discover your primary love language is to examine what you do or say to express love to your spouse. Chances are what you are doing for her or him is what you wish he or she would do for you. Keep in mind, when an action doesn't come naturally to you, it's a greater expression of love.
Yeah. That is such a
Because
good, yes.
when it takes me, because words of affirmation are huge for my husband. So when it takes me a thought to really think about what it is that I'm about to say, I think it means more to him because I put thought and love into what it is of words of affirmation than just throwing something out there.
Yeah.
Because it's not, doesn't come naturally to me. So it's something that I have to work on. And I think that's a huge, huge thing that you could show your spouse, that I'm working on this to show you that I truly do love you.
Yep. That is very nicely said and nicely done, Coach Rita. It is a fantastic introduction to what the love languages are, and I really look forward to the next episode. We're going to have a lot of fun with it. I love throwing myself out there, even if it's a kind of scary, the unknown, and maybe I'll learn something new about myself through the exercise that we'll do.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really good.
It'll help our listeners, and I'm just excited about the upgrade it's going to be to your relationship.
Yes.
So, excellent job. Nicely done, team. So with that, we want to make sure that you reach out to us. Let us know what your love languages are. You can email coach at manvsmarriagepodcast.com. That's coach at manvsmarriagepodcast.com. And connect with us on Facebook. Come on down to the Facebook. It is facebook.com/MVSM podcast. And with that, that's all she wrote. We're gone now. We're still there, but we're leaving. No, wait, I'm back. No, we're done.
Oh my gosh.
We're finished. It's over.
She turned you off.
Goodbye now. We're still here. Are you still listening? Thank you. We're out, guys. Good night now.